Alright, it's official. Apple just announced their September event, and there are a bunch of new products on the way. Today, I want to show you absolutely everything that they're going to be announcing, from the iPhone 17, new Apple Watches, AirPods Pro 3, and maybe some surprises too. First, though, a closer look at the invite for this event, which has been confirmed to be taking place on Tuesday, September 9th, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So what's Apple hinting at this year? Well, the colors in the Apple logo are not just random. They match up perfectly to the leaked iPhone 17 colors that we have seen already, like the dark blue and bright orange iPhone 17 Pro and light blue and light gold iPhone 17 Air, which is a natural transition to the big product, the flagship announcement at this event, which will be the iPhone 17 series. Beginning on the high end, the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max are getting updated industrial designs with this new part glass, part aluminum look where the camera stretches up across the top and there's now a cutout for wireless charging down below. And pretty much all the rumors are suggesting that this will be the biggest year for iPhone cameras in the product's history. For starters, all three lenses will now be equipped with a 48 megapixel sensor. So while before it was just the wide and ultra wide, the telephoto lens is now going to likely be able to sensor crop in and do some really impressive zoom. And this is said to be aided by the most complex component Apple's ever used in the camera, which is a movable telephoto lens. Just like a traditional DSLR has a lens that zooms in and out, that's why Apple has raised the camera bump and stretched it across the phone, essentially enabling true optical zoom on device. And from all the rumors I have seen, it sounds like this is the camera system Apple's kind of always wanted to make, but never could until now. And below the cameras, I mentioned this new glass cutout earlier. This is going to be a dedicated area now for MagSafe and wireless charging, and one that will definitely enable reverse wireless charging or MagShare, where according to rumors, you could set your AirPods on the back of your iPhone and charge them up wirelessly without the need for an external power source. Apple could even allow you to share power with other iPhone users directly, but we don't know for sure if they're going to do that part. And Apple, of course, likes that it makes the phone look pretty distinct as well. So out in public, even from far away, you'll be able to tell if somebody has the 17 Pro just by noticing that cutout. Of course, some new colors will also help with this, as in addition to white, black, and titanium, Apple's adding a dark blue and sunset orange color, which will be pretty distinct. I don't know if we've ever gotten a proper orange iPhone to date. And some rumors suggest there could be an all-new liquid glass special edition color that plays off the shifting hues as part of iOS 26 and that design language, one that looks white in some lighting but iridescent in others, which would be really cool. And on the front, there's some big changes too. It's the same 6.3 and 6.9 inch sizes as last year, but the dynamic island could be getting dramatically smaller, as we haven't seen a change since 2022, and a few leaks have pointed to Apple shrinking it down. Inside, there's going to be a way better 24 megapixel front camera, which is twice as good as the 12 megapixel we have now, so selfies and FaceTimes are going to be a dramatic increase year over year. The entire display is also getting a new anti-reflective and scratch-resistant coating, so if you use your iPhone outside a lot, especially in bright environments, here's an example of what a phone with and without the coating will look like. It is going to be like a night and day difference. Moving to the inside, Apple is going to make this phone more capable for AI, but unlike last year where AI was the entire marketing pitch of these phones that were basically just 15 Pros, they are not making that mistake again. Instead, Apple's just upgrading the capabilities of the RAM from 8 gigabytes to 12 gigabytes for a 50% increase generation over generation. And for extended use of AI that might make the processor heat up, there's going to be a new vapor chamber cooling system, so it won't throttle the processor down and you get consistent high power for longer. Apple will also be using their most powerful A19 Pro chip, which is still 3 nanometers, so it won't be a big upgrade year over year, but probably a 10 to 15% improvement compared to last year. And the reason Apple is able to do this is that they are slightly increasing the thickness of the phones this year. Not by much, just a tad, enough to fit a larger battery inside. Because the thing I am most excited for is the best battery life ever on iPhone. According to rumors on the Pro Max size, it will have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery or greater, which is the biggest Apple has ever used. Combine that with the new stamped stainless steel housing and the efficiency improvements of the processor, and I think that could be the sleeper big upgrade on the Pro models this year. It's just battery life that is finally great. Not good, not okay, great. Just be prepared to pay a bit more for your Pro iPhone this year, as analysts are predicting a $50 to $100 price increase, making these the most expensive iPhones yet. Next, at Apple's September event, we probably won't be getting any new Macs just yet. Those are coming a bit later in the year, but if you're like me and you already have one and you want to make it better, that's why I partnered up with Clean My Mac, who sponsored today's video. Clean My Mac has been the ultimate solution for Mac control and care, and they just recently added a new cloud cleanup feature that is so useful. It connects directly to iCloud Drive, Google Drive, and OneDrive, scanning all of your files to see what is taking up the most amount of space. I was actually about to upgrade my Google Drive because I thought that I just needed to buy more, but it turns out there were just a couple of files that I didn't know were even still there from years ago. Of course, this comes in addition to the existing suite of features like Smart Care, where you can scan your entire hard drive and perform a number of essential maintenance to make sure that your Mac is running as quickly and efficiently as possible. I also really enjoy the Space Lens feature that allows you to look on your local hard drive and in a really nice looking manner find out the files that are taking up the largest amount of space. So get tidy today. Get 7 days free with my code AppleTrack20 and get 20% off. A huge thank you to Clean My Mac for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Although this year, I don't think the Pro models are the most interesting thing Apple's doing at this event. I think it's the iPhone 17 Air, which is this first of its kind, ultra slim, minimalistic iPhone that is basically stripped down to the essentials to achieve a design that looks closer to a sheet of paper than an actual smartphone. This phone, because it's replacing the Plus size, will have a big 6.6-inch display, one that has 120 Hz technology, so it's super smooth. But on here, we're not as confident that the dynamic island is shrinking, and it'll probably be the same size as it is right now. On the back, there was only room to fit one camera. It'll have a 48 megapixel sensor, so you'll be able to do that 2x telephoto software zoom that Apple currently offers on their cheapest 16E. But with this phone being priced near $1,000, I do think it'll be a tough sell in 2025 that it has one single camera. It looks super clean, but in this camera bar, it definitely looks a little bit empty. It's also so thin that there wasn't enough room to put a physical SIM tray on the side, so globally it is an eSIM only product. There might not be big speakers on the bottom, with the only source of audio coming from the earpiece at the top. And inside it will have Apple's A19 Pro chip, but with one less GPU core than the Pros, so it won't be as capable as the more expensive iPhones. But without question, the biggest catch with this phone is going to be the battery life. The battery in this thing is just 2.49 millimeters. It is incredibly thin, to the point where Apple's own studies have cited that barely 60 to 70% of iPhone users will be able to get through a full day without charging. It's led Apple to consider offering a battery case on day one, where you could put this on the back of your phone to extend the battery life to get through a day, although it eliminates the purpose of the thin phone, so I'll be shocked if they do that. So to make this viable at all, Apple had to do a lot of clever engineering to make this possible. Like internally, there's the Apple C1 cellular modem, which is the most efficient one on the market. It doesn't have the super fast ultra wideband 5G speeds, but it's good enough and something that Apple already uses in their budget 16E. It'll also have a custom designed Apple Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip, bringing the efficiency of Apple Silicon to those parts of the iPhone too. So like they're really throwing everything here to make the battery okay. I'm just fascinated to hear how Apple talks about this product at the event. I'm also curious in how Apple markets the base iPhone 17, or actually what I would call the iPhone 16s, and I would not be shocked if Apple also ended up calling it that, because visually it's going to look almost one-to-one like an iPhone 16, although Apple is making the display a bit bigger from 6.1 to 6.3 inches, and Apple is adding 120 Hz at the same time as well. So after all these years of waiting, at a base level, Apple's adding their high refresh rate technology. I don't know why it took them so long. I've been losing my mind about this. They should have done it years ago. Whatever, it is happening this year on the base 17. But in all honesty, the rest of this phone is pretty boring. An A19 chip on the inside, a slightly larger battery, and some new colors that include purple, green, and maybe a gray color too. But again, looking at this as part of the iPhone 17 lineup, it doesn't look like an iPhone 17. It looks like an iPhone 16, so go into the iPhone 16s not expecting that much. Personally, I have way higher expectations for AirPods Pro 3, which are going to be a major redesign of both the buds and the case. And although we haven't seen exactly what they're going to look like leak out, we've heard a lot about the new features. The flagship upgrade is this new heartbeat sensor Apple is building in, similar to their existing Powerbeats Pro 2 headphones, which integrates directly with third-party apps so that if you don't wear an Apple Watch, you can get some biometric health data during a workout. It's pretty cool. They'll also be getting Apple's newest H-series chip, which will improve audio quality, and sources say it could dramatically improve active noise cancellation, which is already killer on these. We're also hearing that there could be a small AI tie-in on AirPods Pro 3, as using Apple Intelligence in this new chip, you might be able to do real-time translation. So if somebody is talking to you in one language and you're talking back in your native one, if you're both wearing AirPods Pro 3, you could have a real-time translation conversation happening with no lag. After new AirPods, Apple will also be announcing 3 new Apple Watches at this event, beginning with the Apple Watch Series 11, which is said to look similar to the current version after all. I thought with the 10-year anniversary technically being in 2025, we would see that big redesign that never materialized. But once again, expect the rounded rectangle, same Apple Watch that's basically looked like the first one, I guess. This year, Apple plans to add 5G cellular connectivity versus the 4G we have always had, and we might see blood pressure monitoring as a new big health feature. But just like a redesign, the rumors said that Apple has run into some issues with it, and now it might not again launch until next year. Although there are some more substantial changes on the Apple Watch Ultra 3, the design again will look pretty rugged, similar to the existing version, but with a bigger display, one that will likely shrink down the bezels around the edges as they are pretty thick. Apple could also implement their wide-angle OLED, meaning from off angles it'll be easier to see what's on your display, and just like on the iPhone, we are getting satellite connectivity from your wrist, which will be a game changer for people that want to go out and explore remote areas without their phone. And I think this is going to be game changing. I said it when it happened on the iPhone, it has saved countless lives and it gives people that peace of mind. And I have a feeling we might see an expansion of Apple's satellite services this year too, as when satellite initially launched on the iPhone 14, it was supposed to be 2 years for free, but Apple has continued to extend it. Something tells me on the watch it might be a satellite plus subscription with even additional functionality, potentially adding calling directly from your wrist anywhere in the world. Then on the budget side, there's going to be a new Apple Watch SE 3, but this one sounds like kind of a mess right now. We were supposed to see a new bright and colorful plastic housing redesign similar to the iPhone 5C, but apparently Apple has run into issues with durability during production, and it might just be the same aluminum casing, same price that we've had now, but with a faster chip internally. I wouldn't be shocked if the screen got a bit larger, but you can definitely tell Apple's just not really trying with the watch. To this day, they don't have any real competition, and it's showing. They are doing the smallest upgrades they possibly can, and they've been doing that since it came out at this point. Now, new iPhones, new AirPods, new Apple Watches, that's the stuff that's pretty set in stone for the September event, but there could be a couple bonuses as well. First, we might see the AirTag 2, which has been rumored to launch imminently for weeks at this point. It's going to look pretty similar to the first gen, but have an improved ultra-wideband chip internally that'll boost the finding range by 3 times. It'll also be more tamper-resistant in an effort to thwart stalkers, and could somehow integrate with the Apple Vision Pro, which is the second bonus product we might see, as Apple is said to introduce a new version of their most expensive product this year, albeit with some very minor changes. Sounds kind of like a spec bump with just a faster processor on the inside, and that Apple's redesigning a headband so that it's more comfortable. But the overall design, the weight, the materials, the functionality just staying the same with a product that is already not selling well. I don't know why Apple is just kind of giving up on this at a time when they should be iterating constantly, putting out new versions every year to make it even better. It's just going to be another Vision Pro. Maybe we see that at this event, because Apple does love to talk about how the future is Vision Pro. And we're potentially less than 2 weeks away from all of this. I could not be more excited. This event is going to be a banger. I can feel it in my bones. Something is telling me I'm excited. I'm telling you, there's something big coming, and I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new. If you did, drop a like, hit subscribe for more before, during, after the event. There's some crazy things I'm planning for this year, so I hope you're along for the ride, and if you are, that means the world to me. So thanks for watching. It's iPhone season. Bye-bye.